Well, good morning. Hello, everybody, and welcome in. It is Wednesday here with Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Another beautiful set here today, Barry. We were here yesterday. We're back again at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, 8163 Vaughn Road.
It's always good to come to Marguerite's because it takes a little bit of focus off of me and John's faces, and everybody's looking in the background and go, wow, it's beautiful back there. Listen, let me tell you, we're here in the showroom at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, so we can tell you it's a lot more beautiful even than our picture tells you about. Golly, they're decorated with all of the holiday decorations, uniquely done as well. But man, these showcases full of unique, one-of-a-kind jewelry at Marguerite's. They have got literally everything for the holiday season. All you need to do is come down here and let them walk you through the process, and you'll leave with the absolute perfect Christmas gift for that loved one on your list.
You certainly will. Barry, it's a little after 7 a.m. during our live broadcast. If you're watching it at your convenience, on the stream, on the loop, or listening on Spotify, however you consume us, it might be a little later in the day. But Barry, some of you might have already been up about 2 hours if you got younger children. That is a week from today. So do not delay. The folks here at Marguerite's, Benji and the ladies are displaying the jewelry as we speak. So whatever it may be, the $99 special we're about to tell you about, or maybe you've got something else in mind, it does not matter because they have so many different jewelry items to choose from: rings, bracelets, earrings, necklaces, you name it. It's here in every price range imaginable. And if you can think it up, they can make
of the program as well as we broadcast live. It's a busy show today, no question about it.
Yep, it really is, Barry. Got a lot coming up. Our man CJ Duncan from Yellowhammer News will join us at the bottom of this hour. We'll also talk to our friend Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South. He'll join us at the top of the next hour. And then the mayor of Montgomery, Stephen Reed, always comes on right before the holidays. He'll join us in the bottom of hour number 2. So certainly looking forward to all of that. That'll be, of course, amongst everything else we're doing here today, and your comments on our River Region Straw chat line. Of course, you can email us in our Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry email inbox, Longshore and McKnight at gmail.com. A lot to go over today. And Barry, the bowl season started. I mean, it started here in Montgomery, but it continued last night.
Yeah, the West Virginia Mountaineers fell yesterday 42-37 in the Frisco Bowl against the number 25 Memphis Tigers. Today, we actually have bowl games beginning early. 4:30 this afternoon, the Boca Raton Bowl at Howard Schnellenberger Stadium on the FAU campus.
Okay.
It's Western Kentucky against James Madison, the Hilltoppers versus the Dukes.
Yep.
And then the LA Bowl in Inglewood, that will be at 8 o'clock tonight. The Cal Golden Bears against the UNLV Rebels.
Now, is that at SoFi?
That's at SoFi.
Okay, you said Inglewood. I was thinking, okay. Yep.
So that's both of those on ESPN tonight. There was basketball last night. I called a memorable one on ESPN+. Troy was a 45-point winner, 105-60 over LaGrange College. Last night, good news, bad news. Auburn beat the heck out of Georgia State. 100-59. That's a 41-point Auburn win at Neville Arena.
Yeah, I think they covered.
But All-American and preseason National Player of the Year, Janai Broom, played 2 minutes. Shoulder injury. I know John's an expert in shoulder injuries.
Had a few.
Yeah, I've never had a shoulder injury, but they say that his shoulder popped out of joint in the first 2 minutes. Bruce Pearl said that happened to him last year, and it popped right back in. They'll see. But yeah, he only played 2 minutes in this one. Had 2 blocks and 2 points, but that was it.
Pretty good
Auburn
night
didn't
for
really
him.
need him.
Yeah, I mean, 41-point victory.
Yep,
I
Cheney
think
Johnson scores 26.
Yeah.
Denver Jones has 17.
it just shows you how deep that bench is,
Yeah.
how well they play together. They, guy, one of their biggest stars, can sit the bench for the game and no problem. They're going to go and still win by 40. So, very impressed with this Auburn team, Bear. I've been saying it for weeks. I hadn't seen a team better. I hadn't watched every game, but the games I've seen, I hadn't seen a team that looked as complete as this Auburn basketball team. And I know it's a long season. We've got a long way to go till March, but I'm impressed. I'm impressed with what I've seen so far with the Tigers. And there again, it's a long season. You're going to have bumps and bruises,
especially in the SEC,
Yep.
which is beckoning now. It's an incredibly difficult league. Not to compare or anything, but you saw Auburn last night playing without their best player, Cheney Johnson, Denver Jones.
Yeah.
Love those names. They're really good players, too. Sounds like two guys you might see in a posse in the Lone Ranger or something. Hey, Denver. Yeah, Cheney.
Well, I'm about to say,
you want to string up this hombre?
Yeah, wasn't there a character in Gunsmoke or The Rifleman that had that name? I want to say there was. Or maybe there's a real-life actor named Denver Powell.
Denver Powell.
Yeah.
How in the world? How does he do that? How does that work?
I don't know. I
Denver
really don't.
Powell actually played Uncle Jesse
Yeah.
in the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yep.
He also played Briscoe Darling in the Andy Griffith Show. He also had a couple of other movies with James Stewart and Shenandoah, and he was also in Bonnie and Clyde with Faye Dunaway.
So let me ask you this real quick.
Also, Bob Denver, real quick,
Yes.
played Gilligan in Gilligan's Island.
He sure did. And then John Denver, of course, was the grocery store manager in the movie Oh God with George Burns.
and a staple on the Muppet Show.
Oh, well, I tell you, they could not have cast a better guy to play the grocery store manager than John Denver in that movie.
With George Burns.
Yeah, he was perfect.
Anyway,
all right,
that's all we can get out of the name Denver. You and I have just heard it. That's it.
That's exactly right. All right, Barry, a Bama fan gnashing their teeth, gripping a 5-star defensive back, sticking his toe into the transfer portal, saying, I'm out, Clay Chalkville product. And then miraculously, he says, I think I'm going to stay. Think I'm just going to stick around.
His name is Jalen Mbakwe, and he's all that. As a matter of fact, we talked yesterday with Travis Ryer at Talking Tide, and he said, I asked him, I said, who's the biggest, football-wise, the biggest football player loss so far in the transfer portal for Alabama? And he says, Jalen Mbakwe. The reaction when he said he was going in the portal was vociferous.
It was can't miss Tighter Insider message board.
It was absolute, this kid, no good. A buddy of mine on Facebook says, just stop it with all this to my Bama family stuff, and I love my brothers and all that. You don't.
Yeah.
I just don't want to hear it. Just go. I don't want to hear any of that. No, you don't mean it. No. You don't mean it.
Love the Benjamins.
Where's the loyalty? These are also people who, if they got offered double their salary, they would be gone in a heartbeat.
No doubt. And that's the environment in which we live in, Barry. And I've said it many years ago. It isn't the color of the jersey. It's the number of zeros. That's what they're worried about now. And obviously, in this case, Barry, this young man tested the waters. Bama got cold feet. They got nervous. They matched the offer, maybe even, spruced it up a little bit. Now, there again, there's no numbers out there, but you got to know. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. They made this young man happy. Whatever he wanted, they gave it to him. And that's what we're living in today. If you've got a big-time player that you really need, you're going to do everything you can to keep him on your roster.
But now, Bama fans are like, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it.
Oh, yeah.
Roll Tide, Jalen. Woo, glad to have you with us back in Crimson. Now, my Crimson brother,
And I got to tell you, from a PR standpoint, Barry, I think Kalen DeBoer and this staff are probably going, we got to do whatever it takes. We don't need to lose a kid like this. We have got to be able to keep some of our highest-rated players, difference makers. And I know Bama fan, we talked about it yesterday, getting a little nervous, more people going out than coming in. I know Kalen DeBoer's having a press conference this afternoon. I'm sure these type of questions are going to be asked. They don't really care about Michigan. They want to know about the transfer portal. And I'm sure that's going to be some questions asked today about, well, We see who's going out, who's coming in. And I know there's some coming in, no doubt. It's, a couple more weeks left in the portal,
Yes.
so it's not panic time just yet. But, like me, Barry, Bama fans, they panic easily.
Yes, they do.
They don't
yes,
like.
They do. For a fan base who has the most accomplished football program in the country, many of them always seem like they're just this far away from saying, "Oh my gosh, we'll never win another football game again." I don't know why in the world we even sponsor football. That type of a thing. Now, I remember this. Remember this about the transfer portal and people who have agencies who are like 18, 19 years old, and agents who are unlicensed, who are testing the water. I remember several years ago, back when really at the very beginning of even the concept of NIL, and the first year that the transfer portal restrictions were lifted, where you had to spend a year sitting on the side. Well, now you didn't have to do that. I remember somebody, and I wish I could think of the name because this is all off the top of my head, national media. At the time, the hot guy was Bryce Young.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, man, if I'm Bryce Young, I'm going in the transfer. I'm declaring for the transfer portal every year.
I think Lane Kiffin mentioned that. Said, Lane, Lane's
just to see what the market is.
Yes.
Every year go in and say, okay, what do we got? Maybe Jalen Mbakwe wasn't unhappy. Maybe it wasn't that he didn't like. It was not that he didn't like the coaching staff. Maybe he's just seeing what's out there, and he's getting the offers because all this stuff you see about market projection and stuff. It's like Jason Jones told us. None of that stuff you even have to register. You don't even have to publicize unless you're the IRS. Maybe he's just saying, "What am I bid?"
Yeah.
And then he goes back to DeBoer and says, This is what they're willing to pay me. Sure would like to stay here. What do you got?"
Barry, I did it every 3 years in my former life, in my former occupation. I think I'm leaving. Well, hold on. What do you want? Yeah. Well, I don't know. Let's talk.
Of course, Barry, John also does the same thing back in the day whenever it came time to pay his cable bill.
Yes, it did.
I think I can do that. Oh, well, hey,
I don't think I need my cable anymore.
Well, hey, don't go. Let's not be hasty here. We can give you 3 months of Cinemax.
Oh, we did. Yeah. So, Barry, the era of stockpiling players. I mean, Nick Saban was a master at that. He could stockpile players. He had deep rosters. He had 5 stars sitting behind 5 stars. You can't do that anymore.
No.
These kids want to play immediately. Other teams are getting in their ear somehow, some way. Hey, man, you can come start right now, today. And a perfect example, I think, now is what's going on at Auburn. I think that's really one of the big selling points for Hugh Freeze and this staff. You can come play right now. We need you here now. Starter, day one, left tackle, quarterback, wide receiver, whoever it may be. They've got something to sell because these kids don't want to sit around. They want to play immediately, and teams that are offering those type positions or have openings there, they're in a good space. There again, Nick Saban stockpiling talent. I think that's another reason he decided it's time for me to move on. You just can't build rosters like you used to.
One of the big hooks for Saban was the ability to prepare student athletes for the NFL. And they still do. That's still a huge pull for the Alabama football program. But you got guys who are saying, man, I can make a lot more money over at this school right now. And my mom's working 2 jobs and my brother's having to work nights and all. And if I'm not going to get prepared for the NFL if I'm at Alabama, if I ain't playing, if I'm stuck behind another 5-star and all that. So, yeah, it's a different world, so to speak.
Well, it is, Barry. It is a different world, and it's also a different world in terms of how much money some of these young men might be making. I was watching, our friend Neil McCready covers Ole Miss.
Yep.
And Ole Miss is, of course, once again doing very well in the portal. I saw where somebody had them ranked number 1 in transfer portal players and whatnot. I didn't even know they had those type things, but I guess they do. And they were talking about Jackson Arnold because Ole Miss was interested in him.
Yep.
Ole Miss wanted him. And I'm listening to this clip, and it came up about how much would a guy like Jackson Arnold cost. And Neil kind of paused a little bit, and he says, well, I'll go ahead and tell you. They paid him between $2.5 and $3 million. And I went, whoa. Auburn paid this kid almost $3 million. Mind you, the 15th rated quarterback in terms of QBR rating out of 16 players is getting close to $3 million.
He doesn't even have that written down.
Oh, that's here. That's right here.
I mean, he does. That means it'll be a staple in the old. The funny thing is all of these conspiracy theorists who are screaming at their screens right now. You only paid Cam $180,000.
Oh,
the thing is, it's $2.5 million, and it's all above board.
Yeah, oh,
clean
sure.
and green. They could get a camera rolling or an iPhone rolling, and they can hand over the money and they can sign. I don't think you have to sign. They can hand over the money right now and give the big thumbs up. Don't matter. You can do it now.
My question though is he worth it? Is that a good investment? A $3 million quarterback? I mean, to me, that's a lot of pressure. This kid better deliver. And as Luke's told us, he's got a lot better personnel to work with. I mean, in Oklahoma, they were just bitten by the injury bug, nobody to throw it to. He had a good game against Alabama. Maybe that's worth $3 million.
But you've seen other guys, high dollar NIL guys, that have flamed out.
Yeah.
The poster child of that one this year was DJ Uiagalelei, and there will be others. It is a huge risk.
Hey, you better believe it.
And all of the risk is being borne by the institution. If Jackson Arnold, if he stinks out loud at Auburn, you're going to get his money for a year. But Auburn won't get the production out of him. So they have all of the risk.
Yeah.
It is a student-athletes market.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, there is no risk here at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, Barry, because when you bring home a gift from Marguerite, she's going to love it. Absolutely love it. That gorgeous gift wrap. She opens it up. She's getting excited, anticipating what it may be, and then sees that gorgeous jewelry piece from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. We're going to get Benji to tell us more when we get back, but we're going to tell you what we've got coming up. CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, going to join us at the bottom of this hour. Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South at the top of the next hour. Mayor Stephen Reed's going to join us in the next hour as well to pass along some Christmas wishes. And hey, maybe some Bama fans on your Christmas list would like to be in Tampa for the ReliaQuest Bowl on New Year's Eve. Well, make your plans by going to TotalSportsTravel.com. There it is, TotalSportsTravel.com. Click the Alabama tab. The ReliaQuest Bowl information will pop up. They got your hotel accommodations there in Tampa at the Westin Waterside, 2-night hotel accommodations, transfers to Raymond James Stadium and back from the hotel. They have tickets available for you as well if you need to purchase tickets from Total Sports Travel. Just check them out today, right now, at TotalSportsTravel.com or 877-371-0144. Total Sports Travel, cheer the Tide on to victory against Michigan and ring in the new year in Tampa.
We are live at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry in Montgomery, near the intersection of Vaughn and Taylor Road, right by the Shops at Pepper Tree. Make sure you come on out during your holiday shopping extravaganzas. They've got going on $99 special, a lot of other items as well, in conjunction with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Welcome to the holidays. They're officially here. Time for tradition, family gatherings, meals, and the annual scramble of searching for those last-minute gifts. Speaking of gifts, this season Budweiser's got your back. Head to the store right now and look for our specials. Why go all over town looking for that perfect gift when Budweiser takes care of everyone in one convenient ice-cold package? When you stock up on Budweiser with our specials, you'll have plenty to share with your friends and family. They'll all appreciate that Budweiser's brewed the hard way and has been for 140 years. We use the finest barley, malt, and hops grown in Idaho and Germany. We don't take any shortcuts when we're brewing. That's our tradition. So make the most of your holidays. Stop by your local store now for our specials. Grab enough Budweiser for yourself, your friends, and your family. It's a new holiday tradition everyone can enjoy together. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Budweiser.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the River Bank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at River Bank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust.
We are live at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, Pepper Tree Center, next to Chappie's Deli. Benji is here. Benji, we visited yesterday and talked a little bit about the Christmas season, the Christmas spirit. You guys have got it here at Marguerite's.
Oh, absolutely. And guys, if you're watching out there, you need to have the Christmas spirit pretty quick because it's the 18th today. So like John was saying, it's a week until Christmas. So let the girls come in. If you don't know what you want, there's plenty here. They'll help you out.
It's like John Wooden used to say, be quick, but don't hurry. You know, you don't need to panic. This is not panic time yet.
Yeah.
But if you are getting a little nervous thinking, oh my gosh, I got so much stuff to do, don't worry about it. Marguerite's can take care of you.
Yeah. And if your wife told you that, we're really not doing a lot this year, go look at the presents she's bought you underneath the tree. Don't fall for it. Come to Marguerite's, buy something sparkly, put a smile on her face.
This is the voice of experience. He's seen guys like this all the time where she says, oh, you really don't have to get me anything. I'm fine. I'm happy with the way things are. No, you bring home something from Marguerite's and she'll forget she ever said don't buy her anything.
Don't fall for that trick. And I think we all have done that. You married, you know that little trick. So coming to Marguerite's, guys, if you're confused, we have about 10 ladies in here that shop in the store every single day. They will help you out. They'll get that perfect gift for you.
One of the misperceptions about a beautiful, well-appointed store like Marguerite's is that, I don't know that I can afford anything at Marguerite's. At Marguerite's, you've got lots of different price points for any shopper, correct?
$100, $200, $300, $10,000, whatever you want to spend, we can do it for you. And so we have a lot of options. Over the years, we have built up so many like $99 specials or $199, $299. And like I said yesterday, those lab earrings for $399, 1 carat total weights that were $2,000 2 years ago are now $399. So it's a wonderful gift.
You see John in the background. One of the things John loves to do when he's at Marguerite's is he likes to press his nose up against that window with your gemologist in there and watch him work. None of us understand what he is, but you've got somebody on site.
We have 3 guys on site. So we're actually, our little initial, they were running for $99. We're making it back there. We bought a laser machine this year. And so actually it's made here in the store. So everything's put together here. So we can do last minute stuff, but don't wait too long. But yes, we can definitely do it.
Yes. Extended hours for the holidays, Benji?
Yeah, we're open every day. We're open from 10 to 6, Monday through Friday. On Saturday, we're open from 10 to 6, and on Sunday from 12 to 5.
It's like Marianne always says, I'm not going to kick anybody out once it hits 6 o'clock. You're gonna stay until the last customer.
Yeah, no, we're a family-owned business. So if there's guys in here, we'll stay to midnight if you're shopping. So yeah, we don't kick anybody out. So come see us.
It's absolutely outstanding Christmas cheer, Christmas selection, expertise. Benji and the folks at Marguerite's, come see him. Benji, we appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much.
Benji is with us here, and when we get a little bit later on, we'll have somebody else come in and visit with us. Benji, appreciate you. Yep, there we are. Yep. Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, again, very convenient in Montgomery, near the intersection of Vaughan and Taylor Road. Just look for the shops at Pepper Tree, 8163 Vaughan Road at Pepper Tree.
Hey, I'm
John's back in. Yep.
It's like the Phantom coming in. Oh, is the Phantom coming back Friday? I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Is it, I wonder if the accent is going to be on playoffs or if it's going to be his bowl extravaganza. I know Lee Sterling will join us.
Yeah, we're going to, you never know, Barry, with the Phantom. I will say this. I think the Phantom's kind of coming in with some Band-Aids on his knees. Tough week in that last week of the conference championship week. So I believe he's got a little work to do to get back in good graces with his following there. So we also, not only is the college football playoff beginning this weekend, very excited about that. We talked about it yesterday, Barry. Is the NIL dominating the conversation over the college football playoff? We talked about that with Travis Ryer yesterday. And I was listening to some guys early this morning heading out here about how everything is condensed and crammed in together. And not only the conversation we were having yesterday about dominating the talk, but just think about the coaches. And they're trying to put a team together, a game plan together for a bowl game or the playoff, and then they got to deal with this transfer portal. Penn State had a quarterback said, "Hey, I'm out. I don't care about the playoff.
But
got to get it restructured."
The problem with that is, to be honest, and his name is Pribula. He is a quarterback at Penn State. Is his coach, James Franklin, says, look, I don't blame him. He's not going to play here for at least another year or two. He wants to play. He has to get into the portal because if he doesn't, he's not going to be able to go anywhere else. It just happens to be that the portal is situated right in the middle of the college football postseason. It's crazy. But your point about the coaches, especially the coaches who have teams in the college football playoff, as opposed to coaches who are in some of the secondary bowl games or coaches who aren't in the bowls at all. They've got to get a team ready to play for a national championship. They've got to continue to re-recruit their own team.
Yep.
They've got to make some hard decisions on the transfer portal because, again, a lot of the guys who enter into the transfer portal are encouraged to enter the transfer portal. You've got to manage recruiting. You know, recruiting has just wrapped up, and you've got to make sure those guys are, you know, are they going to be in January? Are they going to be in spring? Are they going to be in summer? And all of that's going on at the same time. You know, you're still trying to scout the transfer portal. It is crazy.
Barry, one of the and they didn't get into a really lengthy explanation on it, but I think I know where they were heading. These guys I was listening to about the transfer portal, you got to take the academics out of it. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, okay, well, where are we going here? I'm assuming that the transfer portal is when it is so these kids can be at their next school in the next semester.
Correct. That is exactly
so if you take the academic side out of it, and their plan was to do it in January after the bowl games, you know, can you enter school late? I don't see why not.
If anybody should know, it's John.
Yeah.
John's like mid-January, and he's thinking, have classes begun?
Yeah, I mean, believe me, I was big into dropping ad.
Mostly the drop.
Mostly the drop part.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, okay, we're talking big money here. It's a financial decision. Why factor in the academic side as well? I mean, why do it all at the same time? Recruiting, transfers, NILs, bowl games, whatever. Move it to January. You know, I get it. I get the academic side of it, but you cannot have it all going on at the same time. I just think, and I would think the bowls would be all over it. Because, you know, at least you can play in your bowl game and then think about transferring.
Right. The idea that somebody's out there saying, oh, with college, you got to take the academics out of it. Yeah. Again, you're watching two guys who took as much of the academics out of it as we possibly could and still be able to continue attending college.
You know, Barry, I mean, a lot of these athletes are on the road. They're traveling a lot. They're probably taking a lot of their classes online. You know, I went back and got my degree. Some of mine was done online. I thought it was great. I got to think there's a way that if they have the transfer portal in January, first of all, don't have it for a month. You should have already made your mind up. You should be able to do it in about 3 days max, maybe a week. I think you can make that time up at school if you decide to transfer. And some of these schools don't start till, mid-January, late January anyway. So I don't know. I think it's just too much in a small window.
I mean, I've been on a college campus. I work on a college campus every day. And even then, it's still kind of a culture shock to me. A couple of weeks ago, where were we? We were in Houston last week for basketball. And it's finals week. And we're flying down, and I'm thinking, how are these guys going to handle finals? Do they take them late? Do they take them early? Well, they take them online.
Yeah.
One of our assistant coaches who's at Troy, who's in charge of that thing, the players come in for a team meeting. Everything. He says, hey, did you get your academics taken care of? Yep, I did this morning. Some of the players on the bus leaving practice the night before the game, yeah, man, I got this final. I need to go ahead and take it tonight. I don't want to wait until tomorrow. I'll take it in my hotel room.
Sure.
So it's a different world from what a lot of you are used to. I want to say when Bo Nix transferred to Oregon to get his graduate degree, he was at Oregon for what, 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he ever was in a classroom at Oregon. I think every one of his classes that he took in grad school at the University of Oregon was online. It's a new world. What John is saying can be done in this new world. And
what are we waiting on?
Yeah,
well,
they just need some help.
When we get back, Barry, we're going to talk to a former SEC football player, his thoughts about the transfer portal. Do they need to move it? How does it affect academics? CJ Duncan from Yellowhammer News will join us when we broadcast live from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. It is the holiday season. Christmas is 1 week from today. Whew. It's time to get busy.
He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Book tea time sooner. Save on every round. That's what you get with the 2025 RTJ Trail Card. Destination Golf is closer than you might think. Buy a 2025 Trail Card and save every time you play. Plus, you will be automatically entered into the Trails Loyalty Program. Enjoy 10-day advance reservation privileges at each location. 11-day advanced internet tee times on rtjgolf.com and the RTJ app. Enjoy the benefits of a 2025 Trail Card. It makes for a great stocking stuffer, and you save on every round you play in 2025 on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.
Heads or tails, kick or receive, with the wind or against the wind. Buy your friend a Bud Light. Buy a stranger a Bud Light. Go to your team's bar. Go to the opposing team's bar. Buy a round during the next truck commercial. Buy a round during the next talking duck commercial. If you're truly up for whatever this weekend, grab the perfect beer for whatever happens. Crisp, refreshing Bud Light. Make 2 plans and let the NFL coin toss make the call. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
You know all about the 12 Days of Christmas, but what about the 12 Days of Dixie? We're giving away 12 of this year's hottest holiday gifts. Just go to facebook.com/Dixie Electric Plumbing Air and comment on the daily prize post using the hashtag 12 Days of Dixie, and you're automatically entered to win. The winner's name is posted on Facebook the following day with the opportunity to enter daily. The 12 Days of Dixie is going on right now.
All right, we're back at it here live on a Wednesday. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light in association with Yellowhammer News. Check us out each and every afternoon, right up about Longshore and McKnight at yellowhammernews.com with stories and videos. You can also, of course, watch us on the Yellowhammer News website, Facebook page, our Facebook page, Spotify. We're on Instagram, X, you name it. You can find us there. We really appreciate all the likes and the subscriptions. We really appreciate it. Helps with the algorithms, they say.
Yes. John always brings up the algorithms like he brings up quarterback rating. He doesn't know what any of that means.
Just
but
sounds good.
yeah,
Yeah,
if it helps the algorithms, John says, hey,
we're in.
we're in the business of helping people.
Hey, our friend CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, joining us this morning. Hey, CJ, how you doing today?
Good morning, guys. It's good to be with you.
It's good to have you with us here as we get ready to really dive deep now into the college football playoff. With the games that they've got in the first round, the John likes to call them the play-in games. Which name one that you're really kind of interested in? I'm looking for Friday night, CJ.
Yeah.
I'm loving Indiana at Notre Dame. What about you?
You know what? I agree with you. That's the one game that I circled on my end that I said I feel the most comfortable about when it comes to upsets, right? I know this isn't exactly basketball. You probably won't see one of these mid-level, mid-tier programs get all the way or get to the final four or final two games, but I do believe in this first round of matches, Indiana has a really good chance against Notre Dame, and this may be one of the bigger games in the state of Indiana in a long time. So
Oh,
I like that game, but I'm also kind of keeping my eye on the Texas Clemson game. I like Clemson. I mean, excuse me, I like Texas. I think Texas on paper probably has the most talented team that's left. Right there with Ohio State. But for whatever reason, in these big games, Texas doesn't seem to deliver as much as we would like them to. We want them to show us how elite they are, but they don't always do that. Quinn Ewers is a great quarterback, but he doesn't always show us he's a great quarterback in these big games. And so, with Clemson kind of trending up and Texas kind of stabling out, I think if Clemson gets up early, it could be tough on Texas to come back.
I heard something yesterday, CJ. I knew that Cade Klubnik was from Texas, played high school ball there. He actually played in a game against Quinn Ewers, may have been a state playoff game, championship game, picked him off. He played defensive back as well and intercepted Quinn Ewers in a big game. So a little bit of that going on. I tell you where I'm a little nervous, though, CJ. I liked this the second I saw it. When I saw what Vegas thought about it, I liked it even more. But too many people are talking about Tennessee going into Columbus and upsetting Ohio State. I wish they'd quit talking about it because I like Tennessee to win the game too.
Well, you know what? The more that I think about the game, the more that I think that it wouldn't be that big of an upset for me. And that's why I probably didn't name them before, is because I think it's pretty evenly matched. And I do think that Tennessee has a really good shot of winning that game. I think it's probably going to be the toughest game for anybody in the first round of games. But Tennessee has a really good shot. If they can get up early and let the defense fly around, I think Ohio State is going to be in real trouble.
Is Penn State going to be in real trouble? They're playing at home at Happy Valley in the morning against an SMU club that looks pretty good to me, CJ. Do the Mustangs have a chance?
Sometimes it just comes down to weather. You know what? I heard they're already scraping snow off the field. Those boys from Dallas don't want any parts of that. It's kind of like Miami going to Kansas City last year. It's like, look, they may have some talent, but when you're from the South, that snow is different, and you just don't play to the best of your abilities. It's been a good run for SMU, but, below 20-degree weather, I don't see it happening. I think Penn State has a pretty favorable route to really the championship or at least the semifinal.
Yeah, I do too. I like Penn State's route. I think Texas has a nice route as well, CJ. But I'm with you. I'm got this sneaky feeling about Clemson. I know they were kind of below the radar all season. They looked terrible in week one against Georgia. Kind of got it back going. Had a couple of hiccups throughout the year. Had to struggle late to beat SMU. But I'm kind of with you there. They could kind of sneak in, but I like the route of whoever wins going up against Arizona State the next week. That bracket could end up going a long way.
I really think so. I think the bottom half of the bracket, just based on what I'm looking at, the picture that I have here, is definitely the easier part of the bracket on both sides. I think both of those, whoever comes out of either side, they'll have a pretty tough semifinal, but to get to the semifinal, they're in good shape.
CJ Duncan is with us. CJ, were you a fan of the Heisman Trophy going to Travis Hunter? Is that the way you think it probably should have turned out?
That was my thought most of the year. I know a lot of people were kind of pushing against, the Heisman is not about how many snaps you've taken in a year, but it's one of those things that we won't really appreciate it until we're 10, 20 years down the road, what Travis Hunter was able to accomplish. I mean, there was an argument for him to be the best receiver and also the best corner in the country, point blank, period. And he ended up winning the Blitnikoff, excuse me, and he's not even a true receiver, right? I mean, when he goes to the NFL, he'll probably get drafted as a corner and have a package for him on the offensive side of the ball. So I think it is amazing what he was able to accomplish. Ashton Genty also phenomenal player. But to be honest with you, I almost feel like him playing at Boise State may have hurt him more than anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody brought this point up to us last week, and I thought about you. I had put it on my notepad to ask you about it because what Travis Hunter's doing, I think he played in 92% of all the snaps all year for Colorado. And CJ, that's quite an accomplishment. But somebody points out, I think it was Tom Luganbill, who was saying, think about his week. When you played, you were in the receivers meetings, you were in the offensive meetings.
Mhm.
Travis Hunter's got to be in the defensive meetings. He's got to be, he's got to take some reps in practice. That boggles my mind.
Well, and I also think about the trust the coaches have in him as well, because for someone who plays that amount of snaps, you really can't play him a lot during the week. He can't practice a whole lot during the week. You have to trust in him taking those mental notes. You have to trust in his process, and you have to really trust that he's doing all the right things outside of the facilities, right? Going to get treatment, doing all those things, because it would not be possible if he's also taking the same reps as everyone else on the team during the week. And it takes the team to understand that Travis Hunter's just different, right? And because that could separate a locker room too. Why does he get those benefits and I don't? My legs hurt as well. So I think that there's a mutual understanding there in Colorado about who Travis Hunter is and really where he's going. And I think that everyone kind of got on board and say we want to do all that we can to make sure Travis accomplishes history, really. So I think overall, I think what he's doing is amazing, but also think it's pretty amazing what the coaching staff and his teammates did to support him in those aspirations.
And his Heisman speech was pretty amazing
It
as
was
well.
good.
That was very, very touching. CJ, we've been talking a lot about the transfer portal. It seems to be overshadowing the college football playoff. That's all we've talked about this week is the transfer portal rather than the games that are coming up this weekend. What do we need to do about it? I think the window's too big. It's too long. It takes up too many weeks. And I've heard some people saying it needs to move into January after the college football national championship, but it might affect the academic side of it. That seems to be the big issue. What are your thoughts about the portal, and maybe should it be restructured and changed a little bit?
I think it absolutely needs to be restructured. It absolutely kills me that um, guys are thinking about their next step or the other side, hoping that the grass is greener during bowl prep, during this chase for something greater for the team, right? And I don't see how coaches are able to really navigate this situation and also try to get a team ready to win a game. The timing of it is just awful. And really for all parties, even the kid. I mean, because who has the time to even sit you down and help you make a solid decision, a non emotional decision in that? Everybody else just has to go back to work. The coaches were paid to do a job, right? And so they can't really give you all their focus like they probably would if they had the time to do so. And I think that in this scenario, this is where contracts come into play, right? These kids want money, and I do believe that they should get their money. But if you getting money from a certain team means you have to get under contract with this team for a year, right? And if it's for a year, that to me it should be the calendar year. And if you do that, then that probably cuts out that December portal time, knowing that hey, listen, you got to go from spring to spring if you want to get this money during the year. And if you do that, maybe that helps out the whole process. But right now, it's the wild wild west, and I think that's why you also see someone like Coach Bill Belichick saying, "Hey, I have a general manager, someone who is in this program to handle this specifically because I'm not going to do it." It's just it's there's no way to be efficient. There's no way to be successful at both. So let's bring in an expert to do that for me while I focus on football.
I'm glad that you brought that up because that was actually next on my list. What do you think were the factors that the powers at North Carolina were weighing to make that hire of Bill Belichick? What could it be as seismic as some people think that a successful run for Bill Belichick could mean in college football?
Well, it's definitely possible. I mean, you see what Coach Deion Sanders did at Colorado in such a short period of time. I think it was a shot at relevance. I think it was kind of perfect timing as well, where Bill at Coach Belichick had a need and North Carolina had a need at the same time, and he has history there because his dad coached there, and Coach Bill Belichick also has his son who's a coach as well. That could also play into the future of North Carolina. So we'll see how it turns out. But I think both of them needed a need at the same time. But it does make the program a lot more relevant. We've seen with Coach Sanders being at Colorado, the economy around the stadium, around the city has gone up. Ticket sales, merch, even excuse me, not attendance, but the kids that are coming to the school, even the non-athletes, right? Applications to want to go to Colorado have gone up tremendously as well, and North Carolina could potentially see the same type of effect with Coach Bill Belichick.
I don't know the last time that College Game Day was in Chapel Hill for a football game, but I can guarantee you they're going to be there this fall.
Guaranteed, guaranteed.
Do you think that NFL model that Dion brought and that Belichick is going to bring, do you think that that's the way it ought to go in college football, or that that's the way it's headed?
I think we have to accept that we're already in the NFL. It is already professional. I know the big thing that when I was coming through was protecting your amateur status. There's no such thing as amateur status anymore. These are pros and should be treated as such, just based on the type of money that's coming in, the type of endorsements. And these kids have agents now too, right? I mean, you used to not be able to talk to an agent, at all. Now it's kind of free game because a lot of these agencies are building out a NIL wing, and so there's a loophole. There's a whole thing. So I think now we have to accept that it is an NFL style sport now, and we have to kind of get with the times. And so if someone is a expert at the NFL, I don't see why they wouldn't be successful now in the minor leagues of the NFL, basically.
Yeah, that's wow. That is interesting information, interesting analysis as always, CJ. I mean, I mentioned it just kind of half-heartedly, a year or so ago. I'm thinking, what's the big deal, man? The NFL's great. I mean, why would you not want to be like the NFL? There are aspects of the NFL I like, but I will say it seems like I'm seeing more than I thought I'd see. I mean, I do kind of see this NFL light model kind of coming, and unless we get some type of guardrails or rule book or manual that everybody's got to follow, it is going to be the wild, wild west. And I know that, there's a lot of coaches and athletic directors clawing, kicking, and screaming to try to get something in place so everybody knows kind of what's going on.
Well, the problem is, the NFL itself, those are grown men who have families and can make adult decisions. We're forcing the NFL basically on 18-year-olds who aren't completely developed and mature enough to make those same decisions. That's the problem in it all.
Yeah.
We all understand, TV money, you know, name, image, and like we get all those things, and those who are deserving, those who actually have name, image, and likeness, which is not necessarily a thing anymore. You know, people are just getting money straight out of high school without having a name, image, and likeness. Um, but there has to be something there where you're allowed to one get your money, but also develop as a man, and
Right.
that's just truly not happening. And I'll give some credit to our fellow Yellowhammer brother, Michael Bronner. You know, maybe there's a chance that we move toward a college football commissioner. You know, because we have these complaints and we have um, these irritations about how the system is set up currently. But who do we go talk to? The NCAA? They could
Yeah.
care less. You
I
know,
Well,
guarantee you, in his pocket right now, John has a thumb drive with his resume and
yeah,
his
I'll
application
take the job.
ready to go.
Love to be the college football commissioner. And tomorrow, CJ, we're going to talk to Coach Tuberville, Senator Tuberville, who's been very outspoken about it, particularly the NCAA, thinking, man, we don't need them anymore. They're not doing anything for us, and trying to get this a little bit more, centralized. Really looking forward to hearing what Senator Tuberville has to say to us tomorrow on the show about this subject.
Coach Tuberville's great. I've spent some time talking with him. Y'all, please give him my best. Let him know I said hello.
Yep,
Sure.
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
CJ Duncan, such great content at Yellowhammer News. Always such great
Yeah.
content with us, and we appreciate it.
Man, we really appreciate it. We'll take a week off next week, CJ, because, hey, it's Christmas morning. I know you're going to want to be with your family Christmas morning. We will too.
Yeah.
So we'll touch base in 2 weeks before some of the New Year's bowls, and we look forward to it. Have a Merry, Merry Christmas.
Can't wait, guys. Happy holidays. It's always a pleasure being with y'all.
Thank you very much. CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, former Vanderbilt wide receiver, former NFL wide receiver, joining us here on the program as we broadcast live from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, Pepper Tree Center next to Chappie's Deli, 8163 Vaughn Road in Montgomery, Alabama, in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, folks, you got to take advantage of the incredible holiday savings at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where they sell America's best-selling truck for 50 years in a row, the F-150. And you can get an F-150 at 1.9% APR for 60 months or up to $15,000 off MSRP and no payments for 90 days. Hundreds to choose from. Your F-150 is on the lot right now. Also, F-150 Lightnings, $15,000 off MSRP and 0% APR for 72 months. What about the stylish Ford Bronco? Up to $10,000 off MSRP, starting as low as $34,990. And it started it all with the Ford Explorer. You can get one for up to $8,000 off MSRP, as low as $33,900 and 1.9% APR for 66 months. Folks, Stivers Ford is loaded with cars, trucks, and SUVs priced to sell. Stivers Ford, 4000 Eastern Boulevard in Montgomery, where price sells cars.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders. Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry is an Alabama-based, family-owned and operated business that specializes in dry cleaning and laundry serving the river region since 1941. There are 12 convenient locations across the river region. Find one close to you or call 481-1911 for free pickup and delivery. For 83 years, Central Alabama has trusted Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry. You should too.
Hey, we're back at it, Longshore and McKnight, broadcasting live from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. You see all the beautiful jewelry items in the display case. Come by and see them, whether you're out and about right now, maybe lunchtime, later this afternoon, after work. They're here for your convenience, extended hours through Christmas Eve for you to get all of your Christmas shopping done.
Gotta tell you, I don't know. Maybe it was. I mean, it caught up with us. Wasn't supposed to happen. We apologize for it.
Yep.
But yes, stop texting me. That was Fred the Dorfman in the background a
Yes,
little
it
while
was.
ago. Fred, he showed up here. You know, he lives down in Troy. Great friend of mine. Works in Montgomery. He gets into Montgomery early, and he stopped by Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Probably shouldn't tell you this, Mrs. Dorf, but I think you're going to have a really good
Yeah, I
Christmas.
do too.
The Dorf has taken care of you. We were talking with him during a commercial break. He was back there in the background. Everybody says, "Hey, Barry, was that Fred the Dorf?" Yes, it was. It was.
And Dennis Mitchell.
And Dennis Mitchell
Dennis
as
Mitchell
well.
came by to see us today.
Fred was letting everybody know up front, that he watches Longshore and McKnight every day. And like anybody who spends more than 15, 20 seconds talking with the Dorf,
Yes.
he mentioned that he has been a winner of the Dreamland Pick 3
Sure.
before.
Yes.
And,
You can see it.
that was the Dorf. That was him back there. We can confirm we don't like using celebrities necessarily free of charge to help promote the fact that this place is the place to be.
Oh, yeah.
All I can tell you, if the Dorf shop's here, why
should.
not you?
You're exactly right about that. So glad to see the Dorf. As I mentioned, Dennis Mitchell came by. He's gotten on the chat line as well.
Yep.
Barry, I see Danny from Margaritaville is back from his cruise. He was on a cruise. And
to the Bahamas.
Yeah, and Danny from Margaritaville's back in the chat room. We really appreciate that. Awesome. Barry, this kind of blew my mind here. And I saw it yesterday. Talking about bowl game ticket prices. And I saw it with the SMU Penn State game. You can get a ticket to the SMU Penn State game. This is a college football playoff.
Yes.
$60. Clemson and Texas, 108. Tennessee and Ohio State, 129. Indiana and Notre Dame, 390. Barry, it's more expensive to get a ticket to the ReliaQuest Bowl than it is a college football playoff game in week 1. I was hearing like $1,000 for a college football playoff game. In the NFL, I can promise you they're that. Why the cheap ticket? Is it maybe the opposing team, or the visiting teams not getting enough tickets or not buying enough tickets? Or, well, do I want to go here or do I want to go to the next game?
That's part of it as well. If you're thinking, man, I think we're going to beat SMU. Do I want to sit through that and spend all of my budgeted money to watch that game when I'm pretty sure we're going to win? And then, next week I can spend it on watching us on the road wherever they go.
Yeah.
Also, the stadium in Happy Valley is significantly bigger than the stadium where the Buccaneers play. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Speaking of the Buccaneers, I thought it was awesome. Tobias has weighed in on this a couple of days on our River Region Straw chat line. Tobias says, college football has become the NFL because college football teams are throwing big money at mediocre quarterbacks, just like the NFL.
Whoa.
I think...
Is he insinuating one particular quarterback's mediocre?
If anybody would know about NFL teams throwing big money at mediocre quarterbacks, it's Tobias, who's a Buccaneers fan. I
got to tell you, though,
he's paid his dues. He has got experience in watching NFL teams throwing big money at mediocre quarterbacks.
I got to tell you, Baker Mayfield's done pretty well. I got to give him some. He's had a good year so far, but he is playing in the NFC South. But Tobias always coming with some good takes on our River Region Straw chat line that you can certainly get in as well.
I think Danny from Margaritaville, I think he said he was on a cruise in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
I think it was 10 days. It was supposed to be 2 weeks, but they discovered him. And
I can just see Danny from Margaritaville walking around the top deck of that boat, seeing some guy in an Auburn hat over there and then going over and needling him a little bit.
With Danny, it could be like he could be on the bow and he sees somebody on the starboard stern back there among the thousand.
Auburn hat. Now, Barry, I do that. I have that happen at airports. Wait a minute. Is that guy? Whoa! Is that guy got an Auburn hat
Yeah.
on? No way. Yeah, they're everywhere. I see them all over the place. I've said it for years, Barry. 30 years. They are as loyal as any fan base I've ever seen.
Well, we are halfway through our live show.
Yep.
1 hour in, and I'm really looking forward to this guest.
Yeah, this is one of our favorites, Barry. We talk to him all the time on our radio program, and now, of course, our new venture. We are really happy to welcome in our friend Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South, on with Longshore and McKnight. Connor, so good to see you again. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
Good to be here. Yeah, hope you guys are doing well as well.
We are tons of questions, as we always hit you with, Connor. And John brought this up in response to one of our guests earlier in the week, that it feels like college football playoff, 4 games this week, starting Friday, all to, make your way to the ultimate prize. But in the news cycle, Connor, it's all getting blown out of the water by what's going on in the transfer portal. Do you see that? Do you feel that?
Yeah, and it's hard to avoid. And I think a lot of people are wondering what exactly the future of this calendar is going to look like. And there are people that are just wondering, well, why can't we just have one portal window? Why can't we just have this in March and not have guys that are leaving playoff teams, which this isn't the first time this has happened. It happened last year with Malik Murphy at Texas as well, who ends up going to Duke. But the people that are wondering that and are just saying, well, why isn't that easy? Well, because it's still college athletics and you can't just transfer in the middle of March and then just expect to be able to go to school. There are complicating factors with being able to enroll at a certain school. And that's why this has been structured the way it is. And that's the issue that we're kind of facing right now, and why there's so much conversation that is away from the playoff and away from these matchups is, what can we do to sort of rein this back in and make it so that guys aren't up and leaving playoff teams? Because that certainly was not the intention of this system. But I think it's something that you're kind of fighting against. You've seen Kenny Dillingham come out, the Arizona State coach, and talk about, hey, we told guys, by all means, enter the portal. That's totally fine. Stay on a roster, though. Like, stay on a roster. I'll do whatever I can to be able to get you, your next stop. But be part of this team, be part of this run if you want to be here. So yeah, we've had a lot of conversations not related to the actual matchups themselves, which I feel like that's doing a disservice to how good some of these games look like they're going to be.
Yeah, I think they're going to be really good. That leads me into my first question, Connor. And I'll just tell you, I think they got the 12 teams right. Don't have any problem with the 12 that got in. I got a problem with the seeding. Do you think that could be something that could be changed in 2025, that maybe they go to similar to what they do in basketball, where they actually seed the teams, and winning your conference championship is not going to have that much bearing in getting one of the top 4 spots, as we saw with Boise and Arizona State?
Yeah, just seed them 1 through 12. I'd love to just see that. And, I think seeing it play out that way, and not just necessarily Boise State, who would have made it as an at-large, which is kind of crazy to consider, even if you stripped the 5 highest ranked conference champ automatic bid thing from the 12-team playoff. But the team that really kind of should make the selection committee go, oh, this is kind of messed up and we should probably change this, is Clemson. I mean, Clemson loses to South Carolina for that 3rd loss, a game which felt so important. And then it's like, oh, no, don't worry, Clemson. Miami's going to lose. You're still going to be able to play in the ACC championship. And then you're going to win on a last-second field goal. And then you're going to get into the field with 3 losses, even though you lost to the 3 best teams that were on your schedule. And that should count for something. So I think they're looking at this going, you know what, maybe we should just seed 1 through 12. And you can still incentivize conference championships, and you could still have those top 4 seeds get an automatic bye. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Just make it the 4 teams that are most deserving of that, not just, oh, well, you played in this conference, because Clemson went 0-2 against the SEC, but Clemson gets an automatic bid just because, oh, you know what, Miami lost a convenient game and they end up being able to get into the ACC championship. So I think they will re-look at this. That's kind of the growing sentiment, that they will get away from this current model and make it a little bit more straightforward with the top 12 teams.
Connor, I know that SaturdayDownSouth.com addressed this from just about every angle, but on camera with us, do you have anything to say to Alabama fans who are thunderstruck that they did not get in the playoff and SMU did.
Hey, don't lose 3 games in the regular season with 2 of them being against 6-6 teams. And if you're fighting for your playoff life, my advice would be don't get smoked by 3 touchdowns against a 6-6 team. That would be my advice. If you're upset that an 11-1 team in the regular season, which earned a 13th game by virtue of running the table in its new conference, that's what SMU did. If you're upset that that's not a data point, tell me then why Alabama should benefit because a team earned an extra data point that it didn't. And to me, it was ridiculous when you consider the teams that Alabama lost to. If this were a schedule that, like, all right, let's say they had Georgia's exact schedule and they lose these games on last second plays and it's a field goal here and, a drop pass there. All right, then we can have those conversations. The moment this argument lost any sort of validity was how it played out at Oklahoma. And seeing the way that that team got run off the field, to me, was not the sign of a playoff team. No Alabama fan was arguing for that team to make the playoff after that night. They only argued when they saw, oh, well, you know what? Miami's 10-2. SMU, they're 11-1 in the regular season. Oh, watch, they're going to lose in the AC championship and that we're more deserving of them. It's ridiculous. So you mean to tell me that Alabama, the only way that Alabama shouldn't have gotten into the playoff is if it went 8-4? Is that what we're doing? That's the grace that Alabama thinks it deserves? No, not when you lose the games that it did. And I would have argued for Alabama if it had been a 10-2 team, but it's entirely different when you suffer the third loss the way that you did.
Connor, no doubt. I mean, the loss to Vanderbilt in Tennessee, okay, maybe we can accept that. But going on the road as a 19-point favorite and losing by 3 touchdowns, that done, over. I mean, at that point on, you are completely out of the playoff unless something catastrophic happens in front of you. So, yeah, as I said earlier, I think they got the 12 best teams, the right 12 teams in it. And Bama fan, you just kind of have to go to Tampa and enjoy yourself on New Year's Eve. Also, the future, Connor. Are we going to 14? Are we going to 16 when 2026 rolls around?
I think so. I think we'll get to 14 first. But you know what? And maybe this stems from my initial belief that 4 was fine. I get why we went to 12, and I'm going to embrace this. I'm more excited for a weekend of college football than I think I've ever been. That's how much I'm looking forward to these playoff games, and I think it's really setting up to be just an awesome 28 hours for this sport. And I'm all for that. That's great. But I kind of wish that we were going to look at how this would play out for 5 years and then make that determination of, well, do we really need to be rewarding these teams? Because that's more so the issue that I have is if we expand to 14, all of a sudden we're rewarding teams that, you know what, going 9-3 shouldn't necessarily give you a chance to play for a national championship. It just shouldn't. You had your opportunities. You blew it. And to think that you're going to get that much grace in the new system is a little bit troubling. It's more entertaining. I think we'll get there for that exact reason. The money is too good not to. There's a reason why they set up these contracts and why this is only going to be going through the next 2 years. But yeah, it feels like we're getting to a place with this sport where everybody feels entitled to have that chance to play for a national championship. And I just don't necessarily think that should be the case.
One of my favorite quotes, and I'm going to refer to it here, it's an old quote, was somebody at the University of North Carolina Board of Trustees, I think, many years ago, said that North Carolina wants to be Oklahoma on the weekends and Harvard during the week. They've gone all in now. What do you think they're looking at among the decision makers at the University of North Carolina that led them to Bill Belichick?
You know how many times we've made the joke in any football coaching search? Oh, yeah, you know what? They should just – and they're going to call this guy, this guy, this guy, and then they're just going to make Bill Belichick say no.
Yeah, or why did we hire that guy? Well, what did you think? We're going to get Belichick or somebody?
Those jokes are done. They're dead. The second that Bill Belichick signed on the dotted line to be the head coach in North Carolina, that joke died. And it's crazy to think about from the perspective of all right, if you had said 3 years ago Nick Saban's not going to be in the sport and Bill Belichick is, you would have been like, no, that makes no sense. So the robots got us. Like, how exactly did all of that go down? But for UNC, there was clearly, if you followed this coaching search, there was clearly disagreement behind the scenes. I had heard initially that Matt Campbell was going to be the target and that they were going to be looking at an established head coach. And then when Bill Belichick expresses interest, when you're a program like UNC and you're not on Ohio State, you're just not, you kind of owe it to yourself to go, well, I don't think we can say no to this. I don't think we can actually say no to this, despite the fact that everybody thought that they were going to go younger after Mac Brown. And they went younger. They only went 8 months younger, but they went with someone who is entering this new chapter in life. And maybe you can put together a nice 3 to 4 years and you can sell yourself on this being like a South Carolina Spurrier situation, albeit with some different context. I just think that it's a situation that I have a tough time envisioning the great ending. I envision more so Michael Jordan with the Wizards, and that had its moments. That had its moments. And yes, I did reference Jordan because of the UNC thing,
Right.
but the way that this could play out could be just one of those bizarre week to week things that we follow. And we're just like, wait, what? Deion Sanders worked at Colorado when everybody was poking holes saying this has no chance whatsoever. And so far that looks like a whale of a hire. So who knows in this day and age, but it's tough for me to sit here and go, yep, the 73-year-old head coach is absolutely going to kill it at UNC.
Yeah, I've mentioned this several times, Connor. I don't know what the win-loss record is going to look like, and I don't know the last time that College Game Day was in Chapel Hill, but I can guarantee you they're going to be there this fall.
And that's the win. That's the win is impressions in this day and age. And what does that window look like for 2 years? Can you kind of get this hype, get this build up? And you're getting some of these big time recruits that maybe you wouldn't necessarily. And I realized that Bill Belichick's first transfer recruit was from Holy Cross because of course it was. But what's it going to look like when we get that picture of Bill Belichick on one side, Michael Jordan on the other, and they're flanking a 5-star quarterback and everybody's going, huh, all right, that's a lot of star power. And in a day and age where it's all about talent acquisition and everybody talks about how NFL like it is now, we will have a couple of those moments, I think, in which we go, there is something to be said for this. At the same time, the talent evaluation part is a little bit troubling when you consider Bill Belichick, the GM, is why Bill Belichick, the head coach, ultimately had his undoing and why the greatest football coach of all time was told by that franchise, nah, you can't stay with us anymore. We need to go in a different direction. So that's going to be the part that determines how good this hire ultimately looks.
Let's speak about talent acquisition for a moment, Connor, as it relates to Auburn. Do you like the way that Auburn is trending, the direction Auburn is trending right now?
Yeah, to get 2 quarterbacks out of the portal made sense. And, I think that Hugh Freeze has been pretty steadfast that he is much more comfortable recruiting at the high school ranks than having, as he called it, these 24-hour relationships. But tell me this, guys. If Auburn didn't have that 24-hour relationship with Keandre Lambert-Smith, what would that passing game have looked like this past year? Would have been even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was great. And Auburn needs to get more guys like that could just come in and play immediately. So finally, they make this move to essentially overhaul the quarterback room. And that's what was needed for this team. And I realized that 2 years ago, he gets Peyton Thorne, blah, blah, blah. But the decision to return with him as the starter ultimately blew up in Hugh Freeze's face. And it's why Auburn's not playing in a bowl game. I think that you look at the way that they attack the portal with 2 quarterbacks in this window, and that's really important. I like Jackson Arnold. I think Jackson Arnold had ball security issues in the first part of the season. I would also like to see Jackson Arnold with not an entirely new offensive line, not his top 5 receivers being out by September, not having a midseason coordinator change, not having a defensive-minded head coach pull the plug on him less than halfway into his first game against SEC competition. I would like all of these things to not go against Jackson Arnold. So I'm here to see what it looks like at Auburn with a new home, with a better offensive mind to be able to work with. So I like it from that standpoint. I think Auburn is going to have kind of that season on the brink type vibe, and Hugh Freeze is going to be on every hot seat list in America.
Well, here's what I would like. I would like everybody to stop texting me jokes about Connor saying that Hugh Freeze and 24-hour relationships in the same sentence. Stop it.
Wow.
Whoa, I didn't. You made
Whoa.
that look. I didn't go
Man.
there. I didn't go.
Woo.
He said that. He said these
He's on a roll,
24-hour
Connor.
relationships. He
Yeah.
said that.
I'm telling you, this week, I don't know what he's been eating, but he's been throwing the zingers out
That's
there.
not good.
Connor, you look at the 12 teams in the bracket. Is there a team that you've seen that you go, I like their path? I think they might have a little easier way to get to the national championship game.
I like Texas's path. And I say that having just watched the Quinn Ewers experience, which post-injury is kind of troubling. That guy just used to have a whole lot more mustard on his ball. And there used to be so much more that you would watch from him and go, dang, that guy's going to be playing on Sundays. I get why he was the number one recruit in the 24/7 sports ranking history. I get all this hype, all this buzz about him. But I think for me, I love the path for Texas because I think the Texas defense is the single best unit in this college football playoff field. The one unit where I'm like, if you tell me that they're going to hold teams to 17 points or less throughout their entire playoff run, I'm like, yeah, I would take that. And then, yes, while there is going to be some bad with Quinn Ewers, I can still trust Sark to dial up some of those looks where he gets Matthew Golden with 10 yards of separation. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's a 50-yard touchdown for Texas. And they can still do those things to give themselves a high floor. I think being able to draw Clemson in that first round game is really favorable. I already talked about the issues I have with Clemson and how they fared against better competition. But, I think Oregon's draw is tough. To have a rematch potentially in your first game, I'm looking at that if I'm an Oregon fan going, please let Tennessee win that game. Do not let us have another chance to face Ohio State. And then knowing that, that could be the path and maybe Texas ends up facing Ohio State instead of Oregon, I think that could be setting up really, really well to where Texas is all of a sudden looking at it going, wait, you mean to tell me we got to beat Clemson and we got to beat Arizona State just to get into the semifinal? That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice in a building that they've already played in. This month they've already played in Mercedes-Benz, and they could potentially get Arizona State in that same place, the familiarity associated with it. I just looked at Texas's path and thought, that's really favorable. I think Georgia's path is still going to be difficult with things that Notre Dame does well. And I don't mean to discount my alma mater, Indiana, but I do think that Indiana is going to have a tough time moving the football and scoring in South Bend. So I think that Texas had the most favorable draw of any playoff team. It kind of adds to this notion of like, yeah, you got to play the extra game, but the 5 seed is set up really, really well in this system.
Yeah. I think maybe in 10 years, somebody pointed it out this way, in maybe 10 years, we'll have, with the benefit of hindsight, more of an appreciation of just what an incredible year Travis Hunter had this year to win the Heisman. Maybe it doesn't feel like it now because of the immediacy of it all, but 10 years, I think we're all going to look back and say, that was pretty incredible when I look back at it. What do you think?
It's so much different than Charles Woodson or Champ Bailey. And that's what people have struggled to understand is they think it's gimmicky. Whether you think he should have won the Blitnikoff Award or not, it was a weird year for the Blitnikoff. Like, let's just admit that for those of us that looked at this thing and looked at it very closely. And when the finalists came out, you're like, I don't really like that. I don't really like the Nick Nash thing as much because of when he got his yards early in the season, all that stuff. But he was in consideration for it because that guy had more receiving touchdowns than any power conference player. This was someone who had a quarterback rating of 140 when his quarterback targeted him. That's crazy. And oh, by the way, he might be the best corner in all of college football. There's a really good case for that. And so it's not just snaps. It's not just gimmicky. Oh, this guy played a lot of football. The things that he did, there's a reason why ESPN brought up that stat on the Heisman ceremony about how he's the first player since at least 1976 to have 4 interceptions and 500 receiving yards in the same season. This is so much different than Charles Woodson averaging 1 catch and 21 receiving yards per game while being awesome on the defensive end, but being more of a gimmicky two-way player. This guy was legitimately one of the 5 best players at his position on both sides of the ball. And to turn around and guard a team's best receiver, which he did week after week after week, and still 4 interceptions, even though he was only targeted 38 times. Like, it's just insane what this guy did. I had no problem voting for him. I have no issue whatsoever of how this is going to age. I agree with you. I think 10 years from now, I'll look back on that and be perfectly fine, despite the fact that
Yeah.
Ashton Genty, I would have put him at number one in a lot of other years. I would have put him at number one 2 years ago instead of Caleb Williams. It's unfortunate that he had to be up against someone like Travis Hunter because Ashton Genty's been so good himself. But Travis Hunter is a generational talent. And if you didn't see that this year, I feel bad for you because you're not watching football the way that you should be.
Yeah. Where will Dion be in the fall of 2025? Will he still be in Boulder?
I think he's still going to be in Boulder. I do. I think there's a part of this college thing that really appeals to him because of the alignment that he has. You know, I think having the support of his athletic director, the support of whatever sort of talent he wants to bring in, and yes, that's going to eventually not include his own kids. I think having that sort of buy-in of people that kind of know what they're getting into when they sign up for the Dion experience of like, you're going to have a head coach that's going to be wearing sunglasses when it's a night game or something like that, and he's going to take on a lot of that attention. You kind of know what you're getting, and I think that really appeals to Dion. And more times than not, when we think a coach is destined for something else, usually he's not. Remember when PJ Fleck took the Minnesota job, and everybody's like, "Oh, PJ Fleck's going to be there for 2 years, and then he's going to take the next." He's still there. Remember when Lane Kiffin took the Ole Miss job, and everybody's like, "Ah, he's going to be there for 2 or 3 years, and then he's going to find his way out of Oxford. And he's going to get one of these bigger, better jobs." He's still in Oxford. I think Dion has a little bit longer of a shelf life in Colorado, especially after winning 9 games this year, a program that had 1 season with 6 wins in the last 16 years. I think the things that he's doing at this place, this very unique place, is going to keep him there a little bit longer than we originally expected.
Well, I suspect we've kept you a little bit longer than we originally expected because the response and the insight is so good, Connor, and we are very appreciative of it. Saturday Down South, I guarantee you it's as big of a part of my morning routine as anything to get updated on everything. Tell our viewers and listeners a little bit more. Give us a snapshot of the website.
Yeah, appreciate that. SaturdayDownSouth.com. We cover all things SEC football. Like that's our bread and butter, of course, but we've gotten into a lot more national stuff. That's why I try and bring to the table and talking about all things college football playoff, all things portal. We got basketball stuff too. SEC basketball right now is exploding in historic ways, and we have so much coverage related to that as well. So I always try and tell people I think it's the true one-stop shop for any college sports fan. Nobody likes to do work this time of year. Nobody's getting any work done in late December. Like, get out of here. Just get on your favorite college sports website. That should be SaturdayDownSouth.com. Bookmark it. Spend an afternoon reading stories. I promise you won't regret it.
This is what I do. SaturdayDownSouth.com at work, and I have a spreadsheet on another screen. So if somebody walks behind me, I can do that real quick. Works
I love it.
great,
Yeah, yes, no doubt. Connor, thank you so much for your time. We always appreciate it. I know we'll touch base again real soon. Have a great Christmas, Happy New Year, and man, thanks once again, and always enjoy it.
Gentlemen, you too. Appreciate the conversation.
You too, my friend. Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South, outstanding. Hope you enjoyed it. We're here live at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, 8163 Vaughn Road. They're open. You can come by or maybe at lunch or later this afternoon. Extended hours through Christmas Eve for your shopping needs. They've got it here for you. We're going to have maybe, is Mary Ann in yet? Maybe Benji can come back when we return. And then the mayor of Montgomery with some holiday greetings as well at the bottom of this hour.
In association with Yellowhammer News, he's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
This is Barry McKnight from Longshore and McKnight, telling you about our friends at River Region Straw. You're not buying sticks or stems and pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River region, full of color, that'll last all season long. They've got locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small. From a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load, River Region Straw also has seasoned firewood for the cold days and nights ahead. Pickup is available, and your order can be delivered if you like. They can even spread your pine straw if that's what you want to have happen, for sure. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw and firewood needs at River Region Straw.
Welcome to the holidays. They're officially here. Time for tradition, family gatherings, meals, and the annual scramble of searching for those last-minute gifts. Speaking of gifts, this season Budweiser's got your back. Head to the store right now and look for our specials. Why go all over town looking for that perfect gift when Budweiser takes care of everyone in one convenient ice-cold package? When you stock up on Budweiser with our specials, you'll have plenty to share with your friends and family. They'll all appreciate that Budweiser's brewed the hard way and has been for 140 years. We use the finest barley, malt, and hops grown in Idaho and Germany. We don't take any shortcuts when we're brewing. That's our tradition. So make the most of your holidays. Stop by your local store now for our specials. Grab enough Budweiser for yourself, your friends, and your family. It's a new holiday tradition everyone can enjoy together. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud.
The Victoryland Casino 8 Days of Giveaways is going on now. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. We're giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. That's right, Victoryland Casino is giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. Come play the latest and greatest games featuring exciting bonuses and huge jackpots. There's always more ways to win at Victoryland Casino off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Okay, we're back here live at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, 8163 Vaughn Road in Pepper Tree. Benji is back here with us this morning. And Benji, I mentioned it to Barry, a week from right now, Santa will have arrived.
Yeah.
You got a week to take care of business, and Marguerite's has extended hours up until Christmas Eve. There are no excuses. You got what the ladies want here at Marguerite's.
We can make you a guaranteed winner for sure. I have accumulated what I've called the top 10 jewelry guy gifts for women.
Yep.
So if you haven't got one of those top 10s, it's an automatic winner. So come in, I'll share my all the experience that I have in this business.
Yeah, let me translate that for you folks. Automatic winner means that when you present that gift to the loved one in your life, your girlfriend, your wife, whoever it may be, she's going to make sure the kids are staying with her parents for a couple of days, if you get my drift. So, it's the gift that keeps on giving. We've actually had people tell us that before. That's why we use that tagline quite a bit. Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. You've got jewelry items, Benji, in every price range from the $99 special that you're so famous for up to, you name it. I mean, the sky's the limit. You've got jewelry items in every price range.
We do. We've always done the $99 item. We also have a $199, a $399, a $299. So we have every price category, like you were mentioning. And of course, if you have any ideas, there's still time to make stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, our repairs, sizing, stuff like that, we do it all in house.
Yep, they certainly do here at Marguerite's. And there again, whether it's rings, bracelets, earrings, necklaces, I mean, just walking around the display cases here, just so many beautiful jewelry items. There's something here for you, and your staff, they know the jewelry business. This just isn't somebody you hire for the Christmas rush. Your employees are here 12 months out of the year. They know jewelry.
Oh, they shop.
Yeah,
they shop in the store all the time.
So
they have their wish list is like 10 deep. So they will take you right to the item that they like or that they think's popular. That's a big thing, John. When you go to the mall and looking around or trying to find out what to get, when you have no help, you come into Marguerite's, you've got literally 5 or 10 ladies here that have all these items in their head that they want, that all the other women are wearing.
Yep.
Like diamonds by the yard necklaces. Mm-hmm. Every woman wears those. Diamond studs. Every woman wears those. So they can help you out. It's very confusing for me when I go shopping.
Yep.
So I always need some help. These ladies can help you.
Well, the wish list, I'm glad you brought that up. So guys, tell your lady or our lady viewers and listeners, come by Marguerite's, let them know what you like. They'll put it on that wish list. So when your husband or boyfriend comes in, they know, hey, listen, I think my girlfriend or my wife came in here today. Her name is Suzanne. Oh, yeah, I got it right here. Easy.
I had a call yesterday, right? A guy that I know, he called me up. He goes, hey, does my wife have anything on the wish list? I looked and I said, yeah. He goes, today's the anniversary. Can you have it wrapped? I'll be there this afternoon. He came in, 5 minutes, took the gift.
Boom.
He's a hero.
Yeah. So folks, you got a week. Santa arrives a week from today. So make sure you head out to Marguerite's there. I mentioned conveniently located 8163 Vaughn Road in Pepper Tree, adjacent to Chappie's Deli. Extended hours. open every day, even Sunday, up until Christmas Eve. You guys are just here for our customers.
That's what we do. So, this is crunch time. I still have to get some few gifts myself.
Oh, me
so,
too.
I do understand that that little time clock starts ticking in our head, because it literally is probably a little bit less. You need to have a little bit, you don't need to wait until 4 o'clock on the 24th to come in and start shopping.
But if you do, they'll be here.
We'll be here. We'll be ready to go, but we'll be here waiting on you. And if you're going to run a little late, give us a call.
Yeah, that's right. That's what full service is all about here at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Benji, thank you so much, my friend. We're going to be spreading the news up until the day Santa arrives, and so we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, we are too. So you guys come see us.
We'll do it. Thank you so much, Benji. Benji from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry here with us here today, and we're so glad to be able to broadcast. You can see some of the jewelry items here I feel like Carol Merrill there. You remember her from Let's Make a Deal? She do her arms like that when she was displaying the merchandise on
I've always wanted to do the Collinsworth slide here.
Yeah.
This is what I'm after.
That'd be pretty cool.
With Al Michaels.
Now, Barry, I don't know if Danny wants us to share these photos, but he sent me some pictures.
He sent them, didn't he?
He sent pictures of his cruise. I mean, wow, Danny, those things are amazing. The Christmas sport coat. Well, the green one with the Santa Claus is all over it.
Yeah, is that Santa Clauses? I thought they were little Christmas lights or something.
Yeah, it could have been. But man, Danny, looked like it was a great cruise.
Yeah,
thanks
your wife looks beautiful.
Yes, she does.
You ever see the movie The Other Guys with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell?
Mm-hmm.
And Will Ferrell's wife walks into the living room, and Mark Wahlberg's character says, "Seriously, who is that?" "Oh, that's my wife." No, really. Eva Mendes. Danny, same deal. Your wife, you and your wife look very happy. That sounds like a wonderful thing.
Yep. Very, very good. Thanks for the photos. Thanks for the chats on our River Region Straw chat line. Of course, our emails. We got several of those as well. Speaking of River Region Strawberry, I know there's going to be some cold weather approaching during the holiday season, and you might want to make sure that you've got your firewood ready to go, locked and loaded, because you're going to want to make sure you've got a nice fire during those cold days and nights that are approaching. Kenny can hook you up, 669-5959. Call or text today. Also, someone asked me about our friends at the Destin Connection Seafood Market, David Scott and their good crew over there, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Holiday cooking, holiday casseroles, the oyster casserole. Maybe you want some boiled shrimp for maybe a holiday party, whatever it may be. Destin Connection can handle it all for you. Go by and see them, 3750 Norman Bridge Road, or call them 288-4272. Your order will be ready for pickup. I was at an event over the weekend. Some boiled shrimp there from Destin Connection. Outstanding.
Cannot beat it. We're due one more break. We'll take it later on, right before the top of the hour, because right now it's our honor to bring in the mayor of the city of Montgomery, Alabama, the Honorable Stephen Reed, joins us now. Mayor, always great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. Really appreciate it. How you been?
Man, it's been great, Mayor. I know we've been been busy. A lot's going on. I guess first and foremost, I know with the Christmas season here, the city's all lit up. I've seen all the decorations, and I know you got some holiday messages for our viewers and our listeners during this great time of year.
Well, the first holiday message is make sure you don't wait till the last minute to get your gifts, because just trust me. Not speaking from experience, let's just say the selection isn't as plentiful as it might be right now. So don't wait for the 2-minute drill and the hurry up offense there.
That's a great point. Go ahead and get them taken care of quickly.
Mayor, as 2024 draws to a close, the calendar year, if you can look back with a broad perspective on the things in 2024 within the city of Montgomery that you're most proud of and that you're most enthusiastic about.
Well, I think certainly the community involvement all across the city through our civic clubs and organizations, our houses of worship, so many people helping Montgomery get national recognition from U.S. News and World Report as being one of the best cities to live in this country, not just the state. The only other city listed was Huntsville. We had a big 45 spot jump there. And I think that's because of government working together, city and county, our business community, our community leaders really working together on projects like Montgomery Whitewater, which fully came online this year. Huge economic development projects like the Meta data center. Still haven't explained to people who Meta is. That's Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, all the things your kids and grandkids know all too well. But that was significant. That was a game changer. And it happened in March, and it happened really on a very, very aggressive timeline in that. And, working with the state of Alabama on that was a huge deal for us economically. And then I think in terms of just what we've seen from an infrastructure standpoint, our community centers are finally coming out of the ground. You don't know how long these things take from conception to completion until you're in one of these projects. I'm not an architect or engineer, but I certainly have a much higher appreciation for those that do this work. So we're now starting to see those community centers, as well as some of the ideas to reduce violence in our community. We'll have an announcement here in just a little bit over an hour, announcing over $3 million going to our violence prevention programs. And this is something we've been talking about for well over a year now. And that's been the city and county and private philanthropic dollars helping us do something here that we haven't done before, which is, really fund an initiative year round that helps us with violence prevention to reduce what's been a better year, but not the best year we'd like to see statistically for crime in our community. So we want to continue to address those things. And really, it's like I said, the city council meeting last night, a lot of it, has come because of the work that the entire community is doing. And we just have to adopt what I've heard you guys talk about a little bit on your show. We have to adopt a winner's mentality. We tend to sulk in the bad news more than we discuss the good news. And the good news is really positive in our city. We got some big economic development projects that I think we'll be announcing, maybe if not the first quarter, by early second quarter of next year. And that really helps, along with the housing units, 5,500 housing units that we have coming online, which shows that our public schools, which shows that our small businesses and entrepreneurs, as well as the infrastructure here, is growing at a rate that home builders and others in the real estate community see Montgomery as a stock to buy. And that's what we want to do to increase our population and to increase our economic development opportunities, not just here in the city, but also the region itself.
Mayor, I wanted to share a story with you. My oldest daughter was home last weekend for a big event, and her boyfriend came with her from D.C. Oh. Yeah, and so Saturday she was busy, and so he kind of went out on his own and spent the day touring Montgomery. I mean, he went to the state capitol, and he went to the EJI exhibits, and he went to the Hank Williams Museum and the White House of the Confederacy, and he kind of did it all and had a diverse afternoon, ended up at the Capitol Oyster Bar. So that's a good way to end your day. But he was just amazed by all the tourism and all the attractions and all the things he could spend the day seeing here in Montgomery. And I thought, here's a guy that hadn't spent a lot of time here, really didn't know a lot about our city, and spent the time and took an afternoon and enjoyed himself tremendously, taking in what our city has to offer.
Well, first of all, John, you and I may have to go to D.C. on a dash trip, because I know another young lady who's got a boyfriend in D.C. He's a Navy man, so I still have to check him. I gave him a congratulations for beating Army on Saturday. They were at the game. But you and I may need to get on one of these flights out of Montgomery Regional and go up there. Maybe, check in on the daughters up there. And
well, here's the thing, though, Mayor. When I go, my daughter has found like the new best restaurant, and she's waiting for me to come up there to take her to it.
Hey, I just hope it wasn't Truluck's, because that's what my daughter snuck me into, and I think I paid her apartment bill or apartment rent with that when that tab came due. So just don't let her get you over there. But I think what we see with the tourism, we're the number one city in the state for international tourists. We're second in the state overall. The Equal Justice Initiative, as we just saw their announcement for this 5-star hotel that they're going to have in convening space, is significant. Is bringing a lot of that. Again, we mentioned Whitewater. And John, we got some great ideas around sports and athletics. We talked about soccer. I know the YMCA had a great announcement here just a couple of weeks ago. We've got our outdoor recreation with the trails. Montgomery Whitewater just announced its phase 2 approach for zip lines and things along those lines. So what we have to understand is when we're talking economic development organizations, we're talking to these site selectors, they're asking us what is there to do in Montgomery, because we don't really pump that. But it's really important that we share that news with, whether it's your daughter or mine, young professionals who are from here that we love to see come back here and take our place, so we can go over to Chappie's Deli and have breakfast about 10 a.m. when we don't have anything to do, or whether or not it's to come back here, really bring those ideas and make our city and make our region, our state better. We got to compete for young talent, and what you just described, I think, is great to see a young man like that in DC come here and have a positive experience. And believe me, we aren't resting on our laurels. Had a great conversation yesterday about a major project. It's a sports-related project that we're pursuing with a state leader here. And we're going to continue to push for some impact projects because, John, again, Barry, you all see this around the state. Huntsville, Birmingham, Mobile, hey, they're investing in facilities. And I know these days we don't talk about facilities as much as we used to with college sports programs, but you got to have that first before you can get that talent. And we have to invest in our facilities. And I think that we'll have a lot of support based on what we want to do and based on the potential to increase the experience of young men that visited you and your family, John, as well as those, again, that we want to try to keep here or come back to Montgomery when they go off to Auburn, they go to University of Alabama, they go to A&M or Tuskegee or ASU. We want them to stay here and not think they have to go to another city to work and play. And we can show them what we have right here in Montgomery.
Yeah, I know I asked you at the start to look back on 2024 and the real points of pride within the city of Montgomery. You've already addressed this in a large extent, Mayor, but in 2025, what are the points of emphasis that you want to see for the city?
Yeah, great question, Barry. First of all, we want to continue to see our crime decrease. Again, we got positive numbers this year in terms of crime reduction, but we want to see that number grow. And again, that's why we're going to be putting over $3 million into violence prevention in a program that has worked in some of the hardest communities across the country. And we believe we can replicate that here because we believe we've got the community buy-in already. So we've already got some pieces in place. So the first thing is certainly public safety, and then making sure we recruit more police officers, which I thank our our city council for passing that budget increase for police officers. So if you haven't heard by now, we are hiring at the Montgomery Police Department. You're a former athlete, you're a former military serviceman and woman, we're hiring. We're looking for people. If you haven't done those things and you want a career in law enforcement, we've got the highest salaries now for the time being, or just below Huntsville. I'm sorry, just to be factually correct, just below Huntsville in the state. So we want to do both. We want to be preventative, but we also want to improve that response because the health and wellness of a community really impacts our economic vibrancy and our economic vitality as a city and as a region. So I'll certainly speak to public safety first. The second thing is we've got to make sure that we're investing in the city and we're investing in our economy to grow jobs. And we know that comes down to public education, make sure that is not only stable, but successful, and the leadership there feels supported by the board and the community as well. But also we've got an issue, guys, that you all should know about with Jackson Hospital. We've got a significant meeting today about what we're going to do to support Jackson Hospital, which not only impacts Montgomery and our residents, it impacts those within about a 70-mile radius that are coming into this city for healthcare. I can't tell you how cataclysmic that would be if Jackson Hospital is not able to survive financially. And that's not just a Montgomery issue. It's not even just a Central Alabama issue. It is a state issue. And so we have to have some tough conversations around healthcare. It really hurts me when I hear that hospitals in Thomasville and small communities are closing, because I know those folks in small towns, even though they don't vote for the mayor of Montgomery, they depend on Montgomery to be the job center. Well, look, we need those small communities to grow and prosper as well for people who want to live there, but they can't do that if they don't have local health care. We can't do that if we don't have the healthcare system in place. So, Barry, that is at the top of the list for the first half of the year, because if you don't have, the strength in your public safety, if your education system doesn't have the confidence of the community, and your healthcare system is viewed as shaky ground, I don't know how we accomplish any of the things that we just talked about before, and many of the things that we want to see Montgomery, Target County, Elmore, Lowndes, Macon, Butler, Crenshaw, all the central Alabama counties. It's going to be very hard for us to win, if you will, and to have a championship season, to put it in sports terms, if we don't have those basic foundations in place. So that's what we're going to be focused on, certainly for the first half of 2025.
Mayor, turning to sports, and I know you're a big sports fan, a great window that showcased Montgomery Saturday night, the only bowl game on right after the Heisman Trophy ceremony. So everybody around the country saw a great game between South Alabama and Western Michigan. So great spotlight on the city. And then, of course, as we get into the college football playoff this weekend, in your mind, Mayor, are the 12 best teams, or are those the 12 most deserving teams in your mind that got into the college football playoff?
Absolutely not. And I've heard you all talk about it as well, and I heard some of your listeners chime in on that. No, I think the committee got it wrong. I think the committee took the safe way out. They took the path of least resistance and didn't want to push back on the Mustangs of SMU. And John, you and I, Barry, know some folks from around the area who have ties to that great university. And look, like Vanderbilt, it is a great institution. That's no question, and many others that are out there. But Vanderbilt wasn't in that class list. We're just happy to have a win over two major teams for the first time in 40 years. I won't be alive the next time that happens, but I'll take this one while we can. But no, SMU doesn't deserve to be there. And I think, there are a couple of others that to me are on the, listen, I'm not sure Boise State should be seated that high. You can make the argument that they should be there. I'm not sure that Indiana should be seated where they are. Again, I get the formula, I guess, or the rationale maybe that the playoff committee used. But listen, at the same time, I do agree with Coach Saban in the sense that Alabama, kind of forfeited, its right to protest because it didn't control its own destiny when they had opportunities, not only to beat a Vanderbilt team, but to beat a team like Oklahoma that was probably on its third string quarterback, tackle, wide receiver, and walk-on lineman all at the same time. And I just don't know how you go into Norman and you don't have a better game plan than what they have. And if I can just say this, Barry, if I can just register this complaint, I'm just not a fan of the 3-3-5 defense. I'm an old school defensive back. I'm an old school, Tony Dungy, Tampa 2, bump and run. I'm not a fan of three defensive linemen. I believe in that 4-3 or that 3-4 adjusted defense. I don't think that defense works in the physical SEC. It may work in some other places, but I don't know if that's a championship defense, John Longshore, that's really going to take Alabama to ultimately where they want to go, even if they had made the playoffs. So you asked me a short question. I gave you a long answer. But that's my thought. And that's just college football. You haven't even asked about basketball and NFL. So I'll stop right there, Barry.
Well, yeah, see, the 12-team playoff may have gotten it wrong, but Mayor Reed, he can forgive him for that. Now, if the Cowboys don't re-sign Micah Parsons and C.D. Lamb, if Jerry doesn't I'm not sure Mayor Reed can forgive that.
Look, hey, you know what? I think that we've got a lot of holes to fix on the Cowboys. It's evident by the record. We've got some real thoughts to consider about the draft, free agency, and who's calling the plays on the sidelines of the Dallas Cowboys. So we definitely got to bring Micah Parsons back. But we got a lot of issues on that side of the ball for sure that aren't going to come with one or two, signatures on the contract. We've got work to do in Arlington, Texas. That's for sure.
Hey, if you play the Panthers every week, though, I mean, wow, they looked pretty good last week in Charlotte, but
Hey,
one of the worst
you
teams
know
in the
what?
league.
I was glad to see Bryce Young make some improvements and some of the other guys. But listen, it's been a great NFL season. I've been watching the Buffalo Bills, who I hadn't watched in years, and Josh Allen, just the year he's put together. And you combine that with Lamar Jackson. I mean, it's been some great football out there in the NFL. And I think the playoffs there are going to be real exciting too from that front. So the Cowboys, not so much. Look, I'm trying to see where we're going to be positioned, Barry, for the draft. I really wouldn't have minded a loss to those Carolina Panthers. The worst thing we can be is in that 15 to 20 slot. We don't do very well with evaluation. We only do very well when you can't miss, and somehow we still seem to miss when it comes to the Cowboys. So,
hey, I'm with you on those losses. I don't need the Saints to win another game there.
He's done.
They need to just lose out.
Montgomery Mayor Stephen Reed, it's always such a pleasure. We appreciate the time and all of the support you've given us and for everything that you're doing for the city of Montgomery. Thanks very much. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, Mayor.
Hey, same to you and all your listeners. Merry Christmas. Be safe out there on the roads, and happy holidays, and have a safe new year. We look forward to seeing you real soon. And thanks to everybody for making this a great year for the city of Montgomery and for the River region.
Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate it. We'll stay in touch real soon. Great stuff, Mayor Stephen Reed joining us here today. You know, he's warming up to, you know, the Cowboys got some problems.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't like to admit it.
The rest of the way and do a little bit better in their draft position. That's realistic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a break right now. When we come back, more from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. We are in the showrooms in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Heads or tails, kick or receive, with the wind or against the wind. Buy your friend a Bud Light, buy a stranger a Bud Light. Go to your team's bar, go to the opposing team's bar. Buy around during the next truck commercial, buy around during the next talking duck commercial. If you're truly up for whatever this weekend, grab the perfect beer for whatever happens. Crisp, refreshing Bud Light. Make 2 plans and let the NFL coin toss make the call. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the River Bank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at River Bank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust.
Okay, back at it here on a Wednesday. Man, what a day here at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. But you still have time to come by and see our friends here at lunchtime, mid-afternoon, after work. They'll be here for you. Extended hours, Barry, open every day up until Christmas Eve, until the last customer is served.
Their diamonds are unparalleled. Everything from the diamonds that they get above ground, the lab-grown diamonds, which are absolutely stunning in any cut, princess oval, square cut, round cut, all of that. They've got loads of them at amazing prices. Don't forget to ask about the Forevermark diamond.
That's right.
I have bought Forevermark diamonds for Dee, my wife. They are absolutely stunning. Marguerite's had to go through a rigorous qualification process. Not everybody is licensed to carry Forevermark diamonds. Marguerite's is one of the few that's able to market for Evermark. Ask for those by names when you get here as well.
That's exactly right, Barry. Great point. Glad you brought that up. And you see, we've been telling you, the display cases are full, so come by and check it out, whether it's the $99 Christmas special or maybe it's a big time in your life and you got to step it up a little bit. They can help you out, no doubt about it. They got jewelry items in just about every price point imaginable. Hometown jeweler, expertise, and that's what they provide here in the highest quality jewelry items that can be found anywhere. Great folks. Come by and see them here at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Great guest list today. Of course, Barry, tomorrow we're going to continue on with that. Senator Tommy Tuberville scheduled to join us tomorrow at the bottom of the first hour. Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market, will join us. And then Jason Caldwell, nice enough to kind of make room for the senator. And Jason's going to be on around the bottom of the second hour on the show tomorrow. So we got a lot going on then. And then don't forget, I know people are anxious, on Friday from Stivers, we had here, Stivers Ford in Montgomery, Lee Sterling, his bowl extravaganza.
That's always great stuff.
I think the Phantom is going to limp on in around the top of the second hour. Say limp because his last outing wasn't his best.
He stubbed his toe.
And Ralph Michaels as well will join us on Friday. I mentioned Ralph. If you didn't see it, you can go back and watch it. I thought he had some great insight about how to handicap bowl games during the transfer portal era. Is this guy playing? I'm not real sure. I ain't betting on this team unless I know he is.
Yeah. There's a lot of that really good stuff. A couple of things real quick. Tonight, Alabama men's basketball, a 24.5-point favorite on the road in Grand Forks, North Dakota tonight against the North Dakota Fighting Hawks.
I saw a picture, Barry. I guess, they do it all this day and age. Some of the one of the GAs with Alabama basketball took a bunch of pictures of the players getting on the plane at the Tuscaloosa airport yesterday, heading to, you flying to Grand Forks, I guess?
You got me. I don't know.
And, of course, they showed the stash getting on the plane.
Going back home.
I
can't remember the name of the town that Grant Nelson is from. It sounds like a very North Dakota town, like Moose Jaw or Corn Center or something like that.
What time's that game tonight?
That is at 8 o'clock tonight. The number 6 Alabama Crimson Tide against the 4-8 University of North Dakota team. It'll be on the CBS Sports Network if you want to watch that. Also, again, we're always blown away by the support that our program gets. Fred the Dorfman was in at Marguerite's, mentioned us by name with the people up here, got his wife something nice and everything. I was sitting in an office yesterday and talking with a very nice lady, and she says, my husband watches you all the time. She said, I didn't realize this, but you guys are on for like 24 hours at a time. I said, we're live from 7 until 9, and then it just loops and loops and loops. She says, because sometimes he's working at home in his office, and I'll hear him say, no, that's not right. What are you guys talking about? And I'll walk back there, and he was supposed to be working, and he's sitting there watching Longshore and McKnight at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I said, what are you doing? What? He says, they're on all the time and everything. So a big watcher, a big listener. There's a lot of you out there. Tell your friends. We certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, but that's important. You're right, because we want to have it for your convenience. So you can watch it anytime you want to. Yeah, you go to YouTube, boom, type in Longshore and McKnight in the search bar. There we are, and it will pop up every day on your YouTube because it'll know that's what you want to watch. That's what you're viewing. Certainly you can listen to us on Spotify. So many people, Barry, going to work out or they're in their car, put it on Spotify, listen to the show at their convenience, which is so important. Certainly a lot of content on Instagram. Our Instagram following has just been incredible.
It's been great.
The number of people that are checking us out on our Instagram. We really appreciate our friends at Yellowhammer News putting those Instagram clips together every day and posting them on Instagram, on YouTube, on the Yellowhammer News account as well. And we really appreciate their partnership with us here at Longshore and McKnight. So check it out at yellowhammernews.com or check them out on their Facebook page, our Facebook page as well, Instagram, X. I don't always miss something, Barry, because there's so many things out there.
Yep.
Spotify, we're all over the place, and we
Yep.
really appreciate it. Really appreciate the response, the likes, and the subscriptions. Very important.
Really appreciate the input today from CJ Duncan from Yellowhammer News. Also, great conversation with Connor O'Gara, SaturdayDownSouth.com, and the mayor of the city of Montgomery, the esteemed Stephen Reed, joining us here.
And don't panic. Chris, the wheel hadn't gone anywhere.
Nope.
The Victorland 777 topic wheel is still here. We've just been so busy that don't worry about it. It's coming. Stay tuned.
Also, don't panic. As John mentioned, we are 1 week away from Christmas Day. If you haven't even thought about what you're going to get that loved one on your Christmas list, don't panic. Here at Marguerite's, they can handle it. Been doing it for years.
Yep, they certainly have been. They are jewelry experts. And I'm telling you, take it from us. The loved one in your life, when they see that gift wrapped from Marguerite's, they're going to know it's extra special. And they're going to know you actually thought about it. It's kind of like, he really thought about it. He just didn't go over to some, mall store and just zip in there. He actually thought enough about me to go get something that was just extra special.
If she looks on Christmas morning and you've got chocolates from the drugstore with a picture of Snoopy and Woodstock on it.
Don't do it.
Telling you guys.
Don't do it.
Telling you. Marguerite's exquisite jewelry. We've had a wonderful time. They've been wonderful hosts and hostesses for us for the last 2 mornings here. Make sure that you come by and let them help you during the holiday shopping season.
Another big day tomorrow on the program. We hope you will join us. Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Yep. Make sure you join us tomorrow. Thanks to everybody here tomorrow. As we mentioned, plenty of guests. With John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight in association with